Oh, I like the 80s vibe going on here. Or 70s. America is bad at everything. America continues to be bad at everything. Rap pageant. Okay.
America is the greatest country on earth.
Damn straight.
The strongest, the richest, the most powerful country on earth.
America.
As an American, I'm sure you've heard that roughly 135 times a year. 235 if you go to public school. 335 if you go to a Christian academy. We're told that Americans have the best lives of any people in the world. That we have low taxes, small government, and the highest living standards on earth. And most inaccurately, that we're the freest. Well, it is partly true. America is the richest country, not just in the world, but in the history of the world. It's really hard to comprehend just how rich we are. We have 18 million people who are millionaires.
Wow.
American households own about $100 trillion in wealth, an almost unthinkable amount of money.
How's that even possible?
Okay, so America is the richest country ever. But there's a curious paradox. Most Americans actually have a much worse standard of living than people who live in poorer countries like Germany or Finland or Britain. But how can that be? That shouldn't make any sense. Well, here's the shitty deal. Americans get significantly worse services because our tax dollars don't fund them.
No, we fund other countries.
So of course our services are worse, and thus we enjoy less happy lives than people who live in the aforementioned countries. Not that difficult a concept to conceive, really. You get what you pay for, said the cartoon dog to the other cartoon dog. And while you might think the reason American tax dollars don't fund as many services is because we pay lower taxes than other countries, that's not even true. When you add federal, state, local, and sales taxes and include other costs and services that our taxes don't cover but other countries' taxes do, like our uniquely high health insurance premiums, you'll find that Americans actually give away more of their wages than most of the developed world.
Boy, we getting ripped off is what was being called out here, man. We're getting ripped off right in your face, and then they cloud you with, but America's number one, and if you even think otherwise, and if you even question the system, then you're un-American.
For example, in Canada, for a married worker with 2 kids, all of the previously mentioned costs combined, from taxes to health insurance premiums, make up only 11% of the average wage. In the UK, it's just about 26%. Meanwhile, once you tack on the cost of our outlandish health insurance premiums, you're spending a whopping 43% of your paycheck. That's more than France, Finland, Sweden, and Norway.
Bro, they keep saying, oh, but you gotta raise the taxes so that we can afford these. No, motherfucker. We're spending 43% already. We should not, dude, I should be getting a stimulus check every single month with the amount of taxes that we're paying. For God's sake, man.
In real reality, Americans keep much less of what we own than in other countries. In other countries, their government takes a bit more tax, but then gives that money back to their citizens in the form of healthcare or job support.
No, we're gonna tax your ass, and then you gotta pay for healthcare and everything else with it. The amount of taxes that we pay here is ridiculous. It's downright criminal.
General safety net for all vulnerable citizens, no matter how dusky they are. So what do Americans get for the money we pay in? Well, sure, we get a crumbling infrastructure, shameful homelessness, and millions of hungry, neglected children, but we also get some of the worst services in the developed world. Again, our healthcare.
Dude, just to break it to you guys, not even developed world. The developing world has a better healthcare system than we do. All right, we've got a crappy healthcare system that's overpriced, that we're already paying for, and then we have to pay for it again. I'm literally pissed off right now.
American healthcare is simultaneously the most expensive, the least efficient, and the least effective healthcare system in the developed world. Hey, the devil's trifecta. And in exchange for this extremely expensive, inefficient healthcare system, what do we get? Well, we get some of the worst health outcomes in the developed world. We have fewer hospital beds per capita than people in Turkey or Brunei. Americans have a lower life expectancy than people in Lebanon or Cuba.
Oh my God,
And in the
dude.
Mississippi Delta and much of Appalachia, life expectancy is lower than in Bangladesh.
It's like to 2.
In fact, in 2017, the United Nations sent a commissioner to West Virginia to document what he saw, and he described, quote, third world conditions of absolute poverty, unquote. We even have a higher infant mortality rate than people in Russia and Serbia. In every single metric, America does worse across the board.
And by the way, this isn't a color issue, all right? Anybody coming here and saying, oh, this is specifically for black people, that's why it's bad, or for Latinos. No, this is across the board. You just need to travel to see how bad it is. Across the board, it doesn't matter what color you are, you're all screwed.
So why is healthcare so expensive? Because it's so complicated. You have to look for in-network physicians, schedule an established care appointment, beg for coverage from your insurance company that couldn't care less about you, and that's if you're lucky enough to have good insurance. Compare that to Britain and all of those other evil, socialist-like countries where it's simple. Public hospitals provide free treatment to people who need it. That's it. I'll repeat that. Public hospitals provide free treatment to people who need it.
It's a public hospital. It's not hard to think. And also, we're already paying for it. We're already paying for it. Why is this so hard? Our taxes are already paying for it. Why am I paying taxes plus paying for healthcare? That doesn't make any sense. I don't know why that's so hard to absorb. And I'm not only talking about healthcare, man. I'm talking about everything. Dude, we should be driving on golden roads.
And here's the best part. Even though Britain offers healthcare for free, their system is actually a lot cheaper to run than ours. Per capita healthcare spending in the US is almost 3 times what it is in Britain, and almost 5 times what Canadians spend. In fact, Americans spend the most per person of any country in the world for healthcare. But the free market is more efficient, you screech. But in America, private systems often aren't efficient at all.
They're a private system. The point of privatizing it is to make a profit. So their goal is to suck as much money off you as possible, which sometimes works in specific industries that are in competition with each other. Why is this hard to explain? When it comes to healthcare, their goal is not to provide healthcare. For if they provide you healthcare, then they have to pay for your healthcare. The goal is to suck as much money without paying for you. It's a scam. It's like, God's sake, guys, capitalism is brilliant in specific industries. When it comes to healthcare, it's an abominable failure. It's like trying to do a firefight, like a fire station, using capitalism. That means that if your house isn't covered, the fire station isn't going to come. Well, guess what happens? Now that this house is on fire, its neighbors are also on fire. It's just so simple. Yet they try here to make it into a Republican and Democratic situation, which it isn't. I'm neither nor. I hate both of them equally.
Private drug companies have an incentive to charge whatever they can get away with for pharmaceuticals. In Canada, a carton of insulin costs about $20. In the US, it costs $300.
It's ridiculous.
And with private insurance companies footing the bill, hospitals have an incentive to get as much money out of patients as possible too. In 2015, the average cost of an MRI scan in the US was $1,119. But it was only $215 in Australia. Spain, about $181.
Which is the actual price. That's the actual price tag to it. They scale it up because they're trying to... Dude, I know someone who went to the hospital for... They went to the hospital for 6 hours. Didn't do intense scans, just 2 scans to double check on themselves. They had a bit of an emergency. No operations, nothing. Do you know what's the bill? Over $20,000. How is that even possible to scan in an emergency room? In a public hospital. I'm sorry if I don't want to yell to this because I'm way more heated up than I thought I could. But this is ridiculous scam on its finest scale. And they're not even good at it. They're not even good at scamming us. But these people in America are just so... I don't know what happened. I don't know how they politicized this situation. I don't know where to begin. Like, how are you not seeing them robbing you right in front of your face? As a community, as a society, as an individual base. They're robbing you in every facet of this society.
Our healthcare system is so inefficient that we spend over a third of our cost on administration. The United States spends significantly more on administration than we spend on preventative or long-term health care. That's just not smart. Okay, we get it. We all know that American healthcare is so much more expensive, you say, but that's the cost of having the freest freedom in God's favorite country. Well, guess what? Medical procedures that are totally free in Britain, like giving birth, cost tens of thousands of dollars in the United States. I mean, you want to talk about the cost of freedom. Sadly, because of these high costs, Americans often avoid going to the doctor, something almost half the population say they do. With shoddy or non-existent health insurance, Americans will wait until their conditions force them into the emergency room where treatment is far more expensive. Again, not a smart system. Quite often, they end up putting off medical visits and dying. Susan Finley, a 53-year-old Walmart employee in Colorado, got pneumonia and took one day off of work beyond what Walmart's policy allows. So of course, Walmart's gonna Walmart, which they did by firing her. Without her job, she lost her nominal health care coverage, she struggled to find new work, and after avoiding a visit to the doctor for flu-like symptoms, she was found dead in her apartment.
Just a depressing dystopia of a society we have here in America. What happened? Where did it go wrong? It wasn't this bad. It wasn't out of this much control. It's like someone gave steroids to capitalism here and ruined everything. There's a specific line to it. Look at what, and this is, we live in a society where everybody, there's 18 million, he just said it, 18 million millionaires. Those are actually free Americans. If you're one of them, congratulations, you did it. But there is another 285 million Americans who are basically slaves. You're a slave. Look how they just treated her. And this is in Walmart, one of the most difficult jobs, so tell me not. If you went to Walmart and see how they treat the employees, how they interact with these employees, how these employees look overworked, because Walmart tries so hard to keep as low as minimum amount of employees as possible, so they make them triple and quadruple the work effort. Ridiculous.
When Americans do manage to get treated, they frequently can't afford it. Simple, life-saving treatments can cost tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, and if they don't have really good insurance, they're forced to take on medical debt. Tens of millions of Americans owe medical debt, often into the tens of thousands of dollars. Meanwhile, in a country like Britain or Norway, medical debt is almost unheard of. But hey, that's why GoFundMe is such a critical component of American healthcare. 1 in 3 GoFundMe campaigns is now for medical bills. I'll repeat that, 1 in 3.
So now, I guess all Americans have become beggars!
GoFundMe.
I'm sorry, I'm getting really hyped up, but like, it's so infuriating to see my countrymen become beggars. Like, you have no idea how humiliating this is to see my friends on Facebook putting up a GoFundMe. I've seen it. This shouldn't be the case, man. We've become a nation of beggars. Oh, it's just, I don't know if you're an American and this isn't heating you up. I don't know what will, man. They're basically slapping you across the face and you're taking it.
GoFundMe campaigns is now for medical bills. America is such a strong, powerful, rich, and great country that its citizens have to beg strangers on the internet for money so they can get life-saving treatments that are free in the rest of the developed world. But hey, that's just healthcare. Americans get terrible deals wherever you look. Let's take work, for example. Americans work longer hours than people in any other rich country in the world, and that's not because they enjoy sleep deprivation and not seeing their families for days at a time. It's because they don't want to starve, or freeze, or die. See, America has the least generous job support programs, the least generous family benefits, and the least generous unemployment benefits of any wealthy country.
How are we free? No, seriously, how are we free? Also, another point that I want to say, some dictator dickhead came up with this concept that rings true in our society now that I look at it. He said, if you want to make your people not look at you, basically act like, to put them as if you put cats in a cage, for example. If you take cats in a cage, or I don't know, like an animal in a cage, and you just swerve it around, bombard it with problems, shake it so hard that when it comes out of the cage, it's all dizzy and doesn't know what's happening, it won't put its focus on you. I'm curious if that's the case, or are we just this? I can't. I'm so angry. I need to pause, man. I'm so upset.
It's one of the only countries on Earth that doesn't guarantee paid time off for vacations. It doesn't even help provide paid time off for parents who just had a child. And it's not coincidental that we're also one of the most hostile countries to workers' rights. America has one of the lowest unionization rates in the entire world. Maybe this deprivation, our refusal to give people the means to lead a good, dignified life commensurate with how rich our country is, can explain a bit of what we've seen in the United States over the last few decades. Fraying communities, rising rates of depression and suicide, huge numbers of deaths from drug overdoses. These so-called deaths of despair, suicide, drug overdoses, alcoholic liver disease, they're one big reason why American life expectancy has actually started to decline over the last few years.
Bro, do you know 1 in 10 Americans are contemplating seriously suicide? Have you not taken a look out there across the road, across your street, and seen the homeless nation that is becoming America? Literally, I live in this area. I've lived here for 20 years. I've never seen homeless people until the past 10 years. It started crippling, and now it's ridiculous rates. Every street light you stop at, someone is begging. At some point, as a society, we need to take responsibility for the situation. Not individual responsibility, but as a society, it's breaking down. Something is crucially wrong here. Stop. I don't know where the money's going, but stop giving it to poorer countries. We're literally poor. Maybe we should start, the taxes I pay should come back to the country I live in. That's not a hard concept to do. And you don't need to increase taxes. You just need to reform it or put it in the right position and make the government, I don't know, much smaller.
And with such poor conditions, it's not a surprise that poverty is so rampant in the United States. America devotes a smaller percentage of spending on social welfare than any other industrialized economy because, say it with me, socialism is evil.
Oh no, but you know what? The real evil is the immigrants. That's right, those Latinos jumping on. I'm not even Latino, by the way, just Latino. So I'm not doing it because I think I'm Latino. All right, I'm not Latino, and I'm telling you, it's not the Latinos. It's not the immigrants. Immigrants aren't doing anything. We are doing something to our own country. Trust me, the impact of the Latino immigration that's illegal, right, is, I don't know, impacting America negatively. I'd say 0.00001% of our economy. Sorry to tell you, but that's the truth. As a matter of fact, I think they do kind of help out because they take the jobs that capitalism, like that you could never. It's not even possible. They're so desperate, beyond desperate. They're downright foolish. Taking jobs that pay them like 2 cents an hour.
It's evil. Go to Denmark and try telling those happy, healthy families enjoying their paid vacation that their system of government is evil. Guess what? I guarantee
Slap you is what
they'll know you're an American. But I digress. America also has the highest rate of child poverty of any developed country, and the highest percentage of workers earning significantly less than the national median income. That seems pretty evil to me, especially since such a tiny fraction take as much of your money for themselves and their families as you will let them.
Hold on, guys. 1 second.
All the while, both parties smile and shake hands. Across every single metric, no people accept a worse deal than Americans today. High taxes, high cost of living for next to nothing in return from the government. The most expensive healthcare system for the worst health outcomes. More money taken from workers for the highest rate of child poverty. We are the richest country in the history of the world, but we have fewer miles of high-speed rail than Uzbekistan. We are the greatest country in the world, yet we have the most people in prison of any country, and the highest incarceration rate as well, and a higher rate of police killings than in Angola and Sudan. America is bad at everything because instead of choosing to make life better for people through a public healthcare system or more generous childcare policies or better public transit or programs that allow people to spend more time with their families, American law is designed and crafted to protect a class of parasitical middleman industries. Instead of using a proportionally tiny piece of the massive amount of the wealth in this country to make people's lives healthier and happier, most of our elected leaders are, and have been for generations, engaged in a massive project of looting. gently and lovingly guiding as much money as possible from working people into the pockets of the well-connected and the ultra-rich.
Guys, he's just well connected. If you're not connected here, you're not getting anything. As a matter of fact, you're going to get robbed, which is what's happening. No, but let's focus on how do I feel when you use the word she and he and what other pronouns. Well, your mother, your father, your daughter, your brother, whoever is literally dying because they can't afford any of the costs that this country has just magically propped it up. But no. Am I offended by that feeling? What do I feel? Or are we really but don't you dare criticize, because we're the freest country the goddamn world has ever seen. It's like,
Think about that as we start hearing about the inevitable rise in homelessness, poverty, starvation, and sickness that will occur during these coming months and years in the greatest, strongest, richest, most powerful country on the face of the earth. I'm David Cross for the Gravel Institute.
well, guys, I think I'm going to take a break now for a while. I think my fury has gone and ramped it up beyond comprehension or imagination. I want to tear things apart. Let me know what you guys think. Put it down below, and I don't know, like, subscribe, do whatever you want. I'm just infuriated right now. This was a great video. I'll put the link down so that you could share it with your friends. It's a bit of an eye opener. You don't realize how bad things are until someone puts it into perspective, and then I don't know how your heart wouldn't be boiling at what you're seeing. All right, guys. Other than that, pieces.